Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable's After Dark show. Katrina and I are finally back in the United States after 27 hours of travel and nearly 10 days abroad. So we are really excited to be back. And as you can see from the title, we are going to be talking about our trip to Sri Lanka for Northwood University's New Cars computerized automotive simulation that took place in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Well, they just got back, guys, so cut them a little slack tonight. That was a long trip. And Katrina, we're live, right?
Yep, we're live. We can see the comments rolling in. A lot of familiar faces. Linda Hansen, Tony Owens, Jamie Alexander. Everyone's here tonight.
We're all asking for you, Katrina and Vanessa. So,
That's awesome.
When did you get back?
So we got back yesterday. We landed around, was it noon, 1 p.m.? But, with the, 2.5 hour drive back to Northwood University, I didn't end up getting back till around 4 p.m. I know Katrina stayed at her house downstate for the night, but it was a lot of travel, but it was totally worth it because we had the best trip of our lives.
Thanks for getting them, Jennifer.
Yes, she was amazing. She dropped us off at the airport, picked us up. She's great.
Okay, we're going to hear all about the trip. First of all, tell us what this trip was about. It was part of New Cars, Northwood. Tell us what all that stands for.
Yeah, so it was an automotive simulation where we played the role as an OEM manufacturing and producing new vehicles to enter a market. Going into it, we really had no idea what to expect. At Northwood, we've done a handful of simulations before, so we had the idea behind it and using a software, but we didn't know what to expect when it came to the country, the culture, the different students, different schools, and just what our days would look like as a whole. So we were all split up into groups. I think there was 6 groups, right, Vanessa?
Yeah, six sounds about right.
Yeah, so there's about 6 groups, and I think there's about 7 students per group, and we were all split up. We made so many new friends. Like, what a good group from all around the world. This is just one picture. There's Vanessa and I, and then the girl next to us, her name is Maddie. She's a student at Northwood as well. This is a photo with some of the Dutch students and some of the German students as well. But this was just one night that we were on the rooftop, and there's a handful of other nights, and the days were packed with more and more students. So it was wonderful, from the simulation time to the different excursions we went on throughout the week, and then just staying up and hanging out at night as well.
Okay, Dutch students, German students, where else? There's other places, I think.
We also had some Swiss students. Both of them were actually Russian, but they're going to a university in Switzerland. So we had them. And then we had also the Sri Lankan students. And there were, number-wise, the most Sri Lankan students because, it's in their home country. And a lot of them were able to attend. So in each of our groups, we had one American, one Dutch, one, if not none, Germans, because there was only 3 of them, one, if not none, Swiss students, because there was 2 of them, but then also, 3 to 4 to even 5 Sri Lankans in each of our groups. And it was so amazing because it was so, split up and culturally diverse, but everybody got along so unbelievably well. I have never become friends with people so fast, and we're still in contact with them to this day. And Katrina and I have agreed because, we are really bad at Snapchat, which is, what most people our age use to communicate. But we're like, okay, we have to get better at this because we want to stay in contact with all of our amazing friends that we made. And so that's what we're trying to do, to keep those contacts and those connections for the future. But, as for the actual simulation, it didn't take that much out of our day. We only did it, from the morning around 9 a.m. to at most noon. And then we went off on our excursions, and we went to multiple places, including a service center, and the largest service center that they have in Sri Lanka for Mitsubishi. And that was probably our favorite excursion, or at least one of them, because we got to see the service center in a different country and in Sri Lanka. And it was so cool to see the similarities, but also the unique differences of it. But yeah, so the simulation didn't take too long out of our day, but we loved it. I mean, it was so competitive. Everybody was so excited every time that LG would advance the game to see the results, and the energy was just so there. It was incredible.
I heard, I think it was in one of the videos that I think Katrina did, that the service center is not like for a dealership. It's like for all Mitsubishi, right? They all come together. And I guess the OEM has the service, I think.
Yeah, and it's also like different brands as well. It's not just Mitsubishi, it's multiple different brands.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that they have service centers in the dealerships. I think that they just do them through these larger OEM centers that are put on.
Look how clean it is. I don't see any gas guzzler 8-cylinder vehicles there.
No, yeah, it was such a large center, but also clean. They had, the customer lounge up top with, floor to ceiling windows and glass to kind of overlook their car being serviced. They had, similar complimentary goods to the US, but theirs was, more Sri Lankan, Sri Lankan snacks. They had their, they're very famous for their teas. So they always had complimentary teas for the customers. But yeah, from what we could tell, we actually, drove multiple streets where it was like dealership after dealership after dealership, similar to the US, but very close together. And it just looked like, cars inside a building with, glass. And we didn't see any service centers attached. We think that there's more so, the bigger service centers on the outskirts of the city, taking up, more space in the less populated areas. But yeah, it was super cool to go to a service center and see the amazing, techs working on the vehicles, see, the service advisors and their setup. And yeah, it was super cool.
Linda's got a question in the chat. Do the OEMs own the dealerships? Do they own them in real life? And then for your simulation, how did that work? Do the OEMs own them there?
In the simulation, they didn't, because we had like dealer support budgets that we put out. So we worked with dealers rather than like supplying the cars or owning the dealerships ourselves. We saw a lot of like used car dealerships, since they have a lot of trouble with new vehicles and the tariffs right now. So there were a lot of used vehicle dealerships that we saw. I'm not completely sure if the OEM owns a lot of the new side of the variable operation, but that is a wonderful question that we'll get back to you on.
The only OEM dealership that I think we saw that were like, yes, was the BYD dealership that we saw near the end of our trip. We saw a BYD dealership, which was super cool. But the rest of them just had, unique, fun names, like, new cars. They had different names, but not the actual like OEM branded building besides the BYD dealership.
Trevor's got a question in here. What did the independent repair facilities look like? I'm sure they have independents, right? Independent shops. They would have to have a lot of those all over.
Yes, there was a lot of independent shops. We weren't able to go tour any of them like we were with the service center,
Sure.
but they were just like your smaller repair shops. They were in like these towns. Like Vanessa was saying, we drove through some of the streets, and it kind of they were just tucked in with a garage door and maybe a couple parts that you could see from the street, and some sort of branding name on the front of it. But they were very small. The dealerships were very small. And as a whole, it's a different culture and a different like automotive industry than we have set up here.
100%. And their most popular vehicle from what we could see on the roads was what's called a tuk-tuk. And it's a 3-wheeler, little vehicle with, open windows and that open car concept. And it's what they use a lot for transportation as well as Uber rides. So on the Uber app, you can select a regular vehicle, but you can also select a tuk-tuk and then even a motorcycle. So you could totally just hop on the back of a motorcycle and get your Uber from point A to point B. But these tuk-tuks, Katrina and I and the rest of the group, and truly everybody, we rode them pretty much everywhere. And it was so cool to ride in the back. It's almost like a golf cart is the most similar thing I would describe it as, but it's a 3-wheeler. So 1 wheel in the front and then 2 in the back. And that was super cool to see. So I'm sure they have a lot of, tuk-tuk dealerships for those vehicles. And those are definitely the most popular one on the road.
How about speed? Do they go slower than a regular vehicle or can they go as fast?
They go around, I think I would say top speed is like 40 miles per hour usually, but they don't really have any rules of the road. Like they'll drive in between the lanes, stay in between the lane, beep at people, cut people off. It's so funny, but I feel like
here in New York. Okay, sorry.
Pretty much. No, it was such a wonderful experience. And Alex Maison said it best, the Sri Lankans don't have any rush in the world except when they're on the road, driving the tuk-tuks and, trying to get to where they're going. But other than that, the culture is super laid back and super just, at their own pace, except on the road. But I never felt super endangered ever on a tuk-tuk or anything like that. So I always felt like the driver knew what they were doing and, we were getting there in a safe manner. So
I saw the video you took in the service center, how you panned and then there were all the students like here on one side. Were you forbidden from walking into the shop or were you able to go anywhere you wanted or they just said you have to stay in this one spot?
We could have, I feel, gone anywhere we wanted. There were certain people kind of wandering off, but there was, a worker there that was kind of giving us a guided tour. So we kind of stayed around him and followed him around the shop when he was explaining different areas of the service center. We wanted to be respectful and follow him around and listen to him to the best of our ability. But yeah, we definitely, wandered off a little bit during certain times, but for the most part, we followed him around the shop.
Mm-hmm.
What about language? And Trevor, I'll come to your question. What were they speaking English? Were they speaking the local language? What?
Yeah, so they speak 2 languages in Sri Lanka, Tamil and Sinhalese. So I'd say 100% speak Sinhalese, 50% speak Tamil, which was super interesting because our Sri Lankan peers, only the guys spoke Tamil. None of the girls spoke Tamil. So that must have been another cultural thing. And then 98% of them speak English. So they were able to understand us very well, communicate with us extremely well. But then also they have their own language and everything like that. But it was cool because going around, pretty much everything was in English. And English seemed to be the primary reading language. And then they would have, the Sinhalese version under it. In certain areas, the Sinhalese kind of dominated. But it was definitely very easy to get around. I'd say the hardest part for us was understanding the conversion rate between the Sri Lankan rupee and the US dollar.
Yes, it was hard when you looked at lunch and it was like $16,000 and you're like, what?
No.
Or like Vanessa and I are at the ATM and it's like, you're about to take out $32,000 and we're like, or not $32,000, 32,000 rupees, and we're like, is this
like $100?
Yeah, it was awesome though.
Yeah.
Trevor's asking, do the OEM service centers, I don't know if you have the answer to this, do customer pay work or is it just warranty that work in the shop?
They do both. So they have a body shop too. They have like a car wash that I think it's not complimentary. Vanessa and I were talking to our tour about that. So I guess the customer could pay on top of that. But yeah, they do everything. And it was very customer centered though, like Vanessa was saying. They had the waiting area and all the complimentary teas and snacks, very hospitable. But yes, they did both. And I think they did more than just the warranty work.
How did you guys feel there? Did you feel, you were part of Northwood University? Were you welcome? Did you feel welcomed? Did you, what was going through your mind the whole time?
Oh yeah, we felt more than welcome there. I mean, the Sri Lankan people and their culture, they are so hospitable. They are so giving. They're so selfless. They will, stick their neck out for anyone and anything at any time. And they really just want to provide for you and be a good host. I know that people in my group, when I left, they gave me gifts like a clutch and a little watch and a magnet. And they were just the most genuine, kind people ever. And we were just like completely at awe. And it literally made us want to be, better people, more giving and all those things, because we could see, how great they were to us and how it made us feel. And it was just incredible. I mean, it was the most amazing trip of my life, and for pretty much the first time going out of the country. It was such a great country to go to, and I feel like not enough people vacation there, and I would 100% recommend going there, experiencing the culture. Beautiful weather, the beaches. We went to Gaul one day, which is one of their cities, and it's incredible. Katrina, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, the people, they are wonderful there. Like Vanessa said, we felt so welcome. We never really ever felt unsafe, even when we were just walking the streets during the day and in the evening. We always had our Sri Lankan friends around us too. And overall, it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's a far, flight and travel time to get there, but it was well worth it. And Linda is asking what our new favorite food we tried there. We ate a lot of curries. I thought they were absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite meals was one of our last meals, actually. Vanessa and I had this like chickpea curry with bread that we ate, and that was really good. Vanessa, what was your favorite food?
Yeah, that was amazing. I would agree. I loved the curries. Our hotel, we had 2 board meals a day, so breakfast and dinner. And it's really interesting because there they serve very savory foods for breakfast, like rice, Sri Lankan noodles, which are amazing, the different curry and sauces and stuff like that, lots of meats. And it's like, it felt odd eating that, for breakfast. It's like, 7 a.m. and I'm, downing rice and noodles, but it was so good. And then they also had an amazing array of fruits. They had different fresh made smoothies and, health type shots that were available. And then also an amazing bakery area with different, pastries, and their fruit was so fresh. We were just obsessed. We could totally tell the difference between their fruit and then the fruit we get here. It was just so much more rich in flavor and fresh. And yeah, so that hotel food was amazing. And we got to experience a lot of native, Sri Lankan cultural foods there as well. But yeah, I would definitely agree with Katrina. Their curry and the different things that they provided, it was just incredible tasting.
I saw Katrina buying some clothing at the outdoor market. Did you get a chance to do much of that? And what was that clothing called?
Yeah, so we went to an outdoor market where the ladies were so sweet, and they started putting on what's called a sari onto Katrina, and it's basically like the Sri Lankan staple wear that you wear to different fancy events. A lot of workers are actually required to wear it into work, but then you also wear it to different weddings or proms and stuff like that. So she got hers at that market, and then I got mine at the Peta Market, which is a huge market that is just completely filled with people, and it's just streets full of, different themed things like tech and then textiles and a bunch of shoes. It's like the craziest thing you'll ever see. But we got these saris, and this is when we wore them, this is our sari night. And we had a few of our amazing Sri Lankan girlies come to our hotel room, which was often for us. They would oftentimes come with us back to our place, and we'd hang out and get dressed and then go back out for dinner. But this night they came back and they helped us put on our saris. So with the, different different safety pins. They, did the different beautiful pleats and fitted it to us and asked how we want to wear it. Right there, Maddie and Katrina, they wore it in a more draping style, and then I wore it in a more fitted pleated style across my shoulder. And it was just so cool because this is truly a Sri Lankan type outfit, and you do see a lot of similar ones in India, but the way that they fold it and where they place it on the body is specific to Sri Lanka. So we were so excited to be able to embrace their culture and wear one of their most beautiful textiles.
Now, is this in the actual hotel or hotel lobby here?
This is a different hotel. So we went out to dinner one night at a neighboring hotel, and we thought the lobby was so beautiful. So we decided to take some photos in there when we went out to dinner that evening. But you can see how beautiful the hotel is. And ours was just as gorgeous as well. But it's so, booking a hotel is a lot cheaper than you would expect in the States or in a different country. And the food is very, inexpensive and cheap compared to the US and other travel spots as well. But it's so unique because everything is so beautiful and so put together. And so the food is so delicious. But so this was, again, a neighboring hotel. But
so who was the other girl? Because I saw her picture a couple times in the photos you sent.
Yeah, her name was Maddie.
Maddie?
She is a student at Northwood as well. We didn't really know her going into the trip at all. And Vanessa and I met her in the airport for the first time. And we went up to her and we had a great introduction. And then it was us three in a hotel room together. And so we really got to know her over the week. And she's absolutely wonderful. And I know she'll be one of Vanessa and I's good friends for a long time. So
I saw in the next picture you have coming up also this gentleman, Colin. Was he well behaved?
Yes, Colin was incredible. He actually, at the end of it, got the award of, the most new cars spirit, which is basically somebody who embodies, networking and positive energy. And that's so Colin. So he rightfully so deserved that award. And he took in the trip so amazingly. I mean, there's not a time where he took it for granted. He was always looking around, just in awe at the view or at the people. And this was in Gaul, and he decided to also get an outfit that kind of embodies the Sri Lankan culture. So he got a sarong, which is a wraparound skirt. And that was super incredible for him. And it's black with elephants. Sri Lanka is extremely well known for their elephants. So again, very fitting. And then that linen long shirt. And he also got this beaded type wooden necklace. And so he looked amazing, and he was totally rocking that Sri Lankan outfit.
And how was Maison? Was he all right?
Oh yeah, Maison was incredible. Katrina and I, Maison is one of our best friends. We hang out with him all the time. So it was so great to be on this trip with, Colin, who's also one of our best friends, and Maison, and then also meeting Maddie. I mean, it was such a good group with such a great group dynamic, and I don't think it could have been better. So we were so grateful to be there, and Maison was amazing per usual, and he was really a rock star on his team because he knows so much about the OEMs and the dealerships and automotive, and he's also very business minded. I mean, today we were just doing a simulation for our master's class together, and he was making all the right moves and all the right decisions, and he's just so great at that. So he was definitely very valuable to his team.
Well, Katrina, it sounds like you guys learned a lot and took a lot in.
Yes, we really did. And inside and outside of the simulation and excursions, again, just meeting people abroad, learning about their automotive and business centered schools, and making friends and connections for life. So this is our friend, Diki. If Vanessa wants to go back, it was his birthday today. And so we just missed his birthday. But he was in my group for the simulation, and he spent a lot of the days with us, traveling with us, and also spending time walking the streets with us the last day when we had the most free time, and taking us shopping and going to eat with us. And Vanessa and I truly grew really, really close to him. So again, we're just so excited to have these lasting connections, but they all were very hard goodbyes.
so hard goodbyes. And yeah, so Diki, he was just such an incredible human being, just such a ball of energy and so funny and kind and caring. And we absolutely loved him. And then here is our other friend, Sakshala. She was in my group and she was so amazing, just a genuine, pure heart, and so fun to hang out with. We hung out with her a lot of the days. And then I also have a picture of my group right here. This is, the group that I had. We have Anik, Sakshala, Taj Sweeney, Muthalvin, Carlos, and Niels.
Wow.
We got to know all of them so well. We remember all their names, and this was just the best group that I could have ever been given. And right there is our back, behind us is our whiteboard, and we had a lot of great ideas go down on that. And yeah, just the people is really what made the trip the most memorable.
To listen to both of you ladies speak, you're so well spoken, and I know that's part of what Northwood thrives on as well. Okay, that eye contact, the shaking of the hand, and the networking introductions. But did you feel that came in handy? Did that help you on this trip at all?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the students from different cultures as well were just the same. But I think, Northwood as a whole, Vanessa, Maison, myself, and Maddie, I think we were very outgoing. We were some of the most outgoing people in the group and in the simulation. So I feel like that helped us bridge connections with everyone and just meet and get close to people quickly. So that always helps, and just taking leadership roles in the simulation and with our groups. But yeah, I mean, we definitely had a chance to embrace a lot of our leadership skills and networking skills as well.
You did not have a lot of notice for this trip. I remember when you ladies told me about it a few weeks before you left, and it was, hey, we're going to Sri Lanka. Okay. How did all that play out? Because this looks like a great time. And, I can tell, Vanessa, you're going to miss doing this next year, although maybe you can still go. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't have too much notice. I think it was maybe a month when we found out that we were for sure going. And I mean, we were so excited. We had no idea what to expect. How it went down is, LG just kind of, he knew he needed students for this event because it is a Northwood University sponsored event, new cars. And so he got together a great group of individuals and, his rock star group. And as he says, and made it work. And he had a vision and it totally, played out. It was such a good group with a great dynamic. And like you said earlier, those skills that we learned at Northwood, the leadership skills, the eye contact, the handshakes, the networking, and, just being able to carry a conversation with individuals, it definitely, shined through on this trip and was very noticeable on all of our ends. Just, watching, my own peers at Northwood University interact with their groups and, the different students from different countries. It was so cool to see.
And Katrina, that auto show, the 62nd annual, you're the general chair. And do these schools have anything like that, or Northwood's the only one who has that?
I think we're the only one that has an auto show just like that. We have a partner affiliate school in Canada, which has an auto show as well. But certain schools weren't able to make it this year. But usually there can be a handful more of universities that would be able to attend the new cars simulation. But none of the ones that we were at had an auto show led by students quite like ours. But maybe, from learning from us, it's something they can expand on and learn from for their futures.
Jen's got a question about there was some type of textiles denim demonstration.
Yeah, so one of our excursions, we went to one of the largest, fashion manufacturing companies in Sri Lanka, who has accounts with huge brands like Patagonia, Nike, Victoria's Secret, Aritzia. I mean, huge brands. And so they create clothing for them. So we went to one of their corporate offices and we walked through, their different showrooms of textiles and denim. And we got to see denim getting washed and we got to see denim getting lasered with all of the holes in that big machine. And that was super cool. You know, it didn't have anything to do with automotive, but it was a business on its own that has, you know, their own dealers and they're a vendor in a sense, you know, so we got to see how that works in a completely different industry. And it was super cool to just walk around. And I know a lot of students at Northwood would have loved to walk around something like that, as we have our own fashion major and a lot of people are interested in fashion. And then our other excursion was a logistics company. And there were a few Sri Lankan students in our group that were actually really interested in logistics and going into that after college. So that was super cool for them to experience.
Well, ladies, welcome back. And I know it's a lot to take in, and you're already back in classes, right, at Northwood?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we've been up and going to class, and Vanessa and I went to the gym today, just trying to get back into the routine and the swing of things. I'm sure you can tell our eyes look tired, but we have to stay up.
Actually, you guys don't look tired at all.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
How many hours one way? What was the trip? How many?
9 hours and 30 minutes was the time change, and then it was over 24 hours of flight time.
Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah. So
All
for us, it feels like 6 a.m. kind of, because in Colombo, that's what time it is. But in reality, it's only 8:30 p.m.
All right.
So,
Well, I'll let you guys get back at it. Thank you.
thank you.
We got a big show coming up still in a couple weeks. Plus his graduation ahead of both of you, and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, All Systems Go, coming up on May 12th through the 15th. We got a stellar lineup, and no pun intended, we've got a great lineup. So you'll see that rolling out here in the next couple days and weeks. So excited to have you guys back, and everyone was asking for you. So there we go.
Thank you. We're so excited to be back. Make sure to stay tuned on the socials, because there are a few more mini mics and vlogs coming out for the socials. So stay tuned on that.
All right, everybody. Thank you. And we'll see you back on Wednesday night. Okay. Mondays and Wednesdays. Here we go.